Hi, this is Duncan Moss welcoming you to my latest video blog. Over the last few days, there's been a lot of talk in the press, on the news, about the new Beatles single, Now and Then. And on Thursday, when I was working in a cafe for uh, people with disabilities, Terry, who's also a big Beatles fan like me, we tried to find where the song was being played. It was available from 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK, and we had Radio Jackie on, and they didn't actually play it. At 2 o'clock, they just after the news, they played Moonlight Shadow, which is about John Lennon, but no sign of the Beatles song. So, fortunately, we were listening on Alexia, so we just asked Alexia to play Now and Then, and she played it, and it was absolutely beautiful. I couldn't believe how strong John's vocals have been from the tape that Yoko gave for them in the Beatles in the 1990s. Absolutely, the musicianship is first class. Production is fantastic. The orchestra's great. Everything about the single is brilliant. So, a huge congratulations to Sir Paul and Sir Richard Starkey, and John and George as well, and Giles Martin, and all the people involved in the production of this work. One friend of mine has said it's not as good as, say, Lady Madonna or Hey Jude or All You Need Is Love. It's not, but it's by no means the weakest single in the whole group. It's certainly better than the Ballad of John and Yoko, which I do not like at all, being a practicing Christian. Although I understand the state that John was in at the time, and even as a Christian, I've been angry with God, and and at least John is being very, very honest. But I believe that this is better than that, and certainly not the weakest Beatles song in the whole catalogue. Just terrific. I nearly had heart failure when it wasn't mentioned there was going to be a CD of the single, but there is going to be one, and I wonder whether that was a joke when it wasn't mentioned in the first run of releases. A lot of people were very surprised about a cassette single being released, which I've got here. It's rather nice. It's got the artwork, which a lot of people do not like. I'm not crazy about it, but when you take it into account that the other artwork on the single on certain editions, it actually fits together quite well. And here we have the cassette done very much like in the way that the cassette that Yoko gave the Beatles. And you've got Now and Then on that side, and you've got Love Me Do on the other side. The first Beatles single release with Ringo on drums. Now, that's funny because cassette singles usually had both tracks on both sides, so that you could just turn. You didn't have to. Some machines automatically turn the cassette round. It just repeats itself. But this is, I suppose, thinking of a 7-inch single. So you've got one track on one side and one track on the other side. But it's been done with a lot of imagination. And I have here a copy of the single. There's, of course, the Now and Then front artwork. This is not on the cassette, but it's on all the. That's the artwork on the back, which is quite nice. And then what we have here, we've got the record inside with. I won't get the record out at the moment. Oh, I will actually, because it's worth. If I can, it will come quietly. There's our beloved Apple label. for now and then. And then on the other side, we've got the old Parlophone label for the Love Me Do, which has now been remixed in stereo. Which I think the mono. I was surprised to find that the mono version has never been stereoified, but the original Love Me Do. And then you've got a lovely sheet lyrics on one side, and then production credits on the other side with a little bit of Lennon-y writing, I think, when he wrote the lyrics down when he was writing the song. I would have loved to have seen on the front of the cover of the Beatles song a Lennon cartoon or something. I mean, no disrespect to the gentleman who did this, because some people like it, and we've all got different tastes. So the video about the production of the single was, although short, very, very good. As indeed the video, which was premiered yesterday, no pun intended, was absolutely brilliant. And Peter Jackson then does a handshake for that. Yeah, just very good. If it doesn't go to number one, I'd be very, very surprised. It certainly deserves to, put it that way. And sort of just a lesson to people, artists working today. It shines like a little gem in a world of basically of sorrow and cruelty. The world, unfortunately, the Beatles were never able to they made the world into a better place, but they weren't able to get rid of poverty, or that's still a long way off. But they made a lot of people happy, and they continue to make a lot of people happy, which is fantastic. I just wanted to say one thing. This is not a rant, but it is a statement. When the single became available, I think it was last week at 2:00 in the afternoon on the Beatles' official website. Not everybody could get on the website immediately, and I was at work. I got home about 6:30, I think it was. I went onto the website to find a lot of the editions of the single had sold out, which was disappointing. But one of the reasons why they sold out so quickly, including a rather attractive white and blue marble edition of the vinyl single, and the two 12-inch editions of the single had all sold out. Go to eBay and you'll find that they are being sold for the most astronomical prices. The single, the marble single, I think it was £24 from the Beatles website. It's being sold at £75, and the person who's selling them has already sold 24 of them. So they obviously bought in bulk, which I just wonder whether the Beatles website and other websites could have had a rule that it's one disc per customer, so that everybody could have had a reasonably good chance of getting several of the editions of the single. And I'm not having a pop at the Beatles. I'm not having a pop at anybody who works for the Beatles website or in the retail trade of any kind. But I am having a pop at the people who are buying singles in bulk and then selling them at ridiculous prices. And I would ask the Beatles website, please, can you have more pressings of the coloured vinyls and the 12-inch versions printed up? they're obviously going to sell, and by printing them up and selling them on your site at decent prices, it will undercut the people on eBay who are selling them at ridiculous prices. So their price will come down, not as down as perhaps as we would like, but it'll still do that. Um, Fans all over the world, not just of the Beatles, but any science fiction clubs and whatever. Um, Most of the fans are really, really nice people. Some people have even got married. They certainly have in the Beatles circle, and I'm sure there are many Beatle fans who, if they found they'd come to the counter and there was just one copy of the record left, and there was somebody behind them who was very upset, I'm sure they would allow that person to buy that last copy of the record. There's a lot of gallantry in fandom, but people who buy up uh, mass quantities of the single, and sell them. Uh, I can't believe that. Are they real fans? I mean, you could say, oh, it's private enterprise. Good luck to them, but I don't think it's right at all. And of course, it wouldn't happen if there was maybe, all right, maybe say limited to 3 copies per customer or something, because you might want to buy a copy for your children, godchildren or something, but just a tiny little blip in. I didn't want to put this out yesterday or the day before because I think it would have just poured cold water on the celebrations. And this is I hope this is blog is a celebration of the Beatles, and they say it's the final Beatles single, but it would maybe what about if the Beatles found one of their copies of All Things Must Pass and tidied that up and put some more production and released that as a single? Because it's George's song. I know it's the title track of his greatest album, but it was a Beatles song to start with, and it would give George another George Harrison composed single, which would be really nice. So just I'll wind up now, and just to say that if anybody could forward this to the Beatles official website, because I've tried to get hold of them. I'll have another try. But if they could print up more copies, please, of the singles, and I'm sure that they will sell very well and very fast. But it will undercut some of these, I suppose, sharks isn't too strong a word to use, who are selling them at obscene prices. But as I say, the Beatles can be very, very proud of this. I bet John and George are having a good laugh at it up there, and just a terrific way to not end the Beatles' career, because I don't think there's no such thing as a Beatles finale. When Paul McCartney in 1917, it must have been very difficult for him to know what to say to the press. He said, "No one wants to be the one to say that the party's over." Well, I think as far as I'm concerned, as far as most fans are concerned, the party never stopped, and the party will continue. And there's still going to be lots of books released. A lovely thing would be if Mr. Peter Jackson, with his box of tricks, could tidy up the Star Club tapes, and we could have them released. Well, that would be marvelous. So that would be a lovely thing for fans to own. But as I say, the last chapters of this remarkable story that happened way before 1962, because the Beatles had a lot of events before they even got into the charts for the first time. And the last chapters of this remarkable story have not yet been written, and maybe they never will. Anyway, I've waffled for long enough. So God bless John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Oh yeah, sorry, just one other thing before I switch off. If you like this, please subscribe to the channel or and take the line and all that jazz. Anyway, God bless. I'm going to watch Thunderbirds now. God bless.